Thank you for making some time, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Simon Mackey, an account executive with Novabridge, and I'll be your host this lovely Friday morning. Our theme today is fast, relevant, real, and we'll share how Novabridge won the New South Wales Government's Digital Inclusion AI Challenge. If you could move forward on the slides, please. Thank you. I'm delighted to be joined today by Jacob Parsons, one of our senior architects and resident experts here at Novabridge, who was very much instrumental in our HackNow event, which we'll talk to you about, and Rahul Karane, a long-time colleague of mine in ServiceNow, senior advisory consultant based in New South Wales from ServiceNow. So we'll hear from this team throughout this morning. Next slide for us, but we'll take you through some housekeeping, of course, first, which involves asking any questions you might have in the chat, and we'll address them throughout the session. We have turned cameras and mics off for now, just to make sure that the flow of the meeting goes well, and that we will record the session, or have started recording the session, and we'll circulate that recording to everybody. But before we dive in, maybe I'll set the scene with a bit of context. Most of you are here today because you're already ServiceNow customers. You've invested in the platform, likely as the backbone of your digital operations. But what's important and often under-recognized, I think, is that ServiceNow is already at its core an AI platform under the hood, and you already have a core AI capability that's built into that platform, ready to support your journey. And maybe you've started that already, and we'd love to talk with you about that later. But today isn't about just concepts or abstract possibilities, about showing how you can unlock AI that you already own in that platform to deliver outcomes that are faster, has guardrails around it for safety, and with less cost. It's exactly the story we're going to walk you through. And to make it real, Rahul will explain this in more detail about the platform foundations for AI, which is that platform ready for anything. He'll also talk to you about how this played out in ServiceNow and in the Digital New South Wales Challenge that was set for us with New South Wales Telco Authority, which set us a challenge about, could the participants who participated in the challenge come up with a way to support the authority's mission of digital inclusion during disasters. And then Jacob will show you how we use ServiceNow's native AI capabilities to deliver Rescue Now. That was the name of the solution that we gave it, an emergency response solution that he and the team built in just days and got recognized by the judges as having real impact, enough of an impact that it won the challenge ahead of 50 other submissions. It was a challenge for just 1 week, Jacob stepped into the role of a senior technologist at New South Wales Telco Authority, approaching the challenge as if it were a real-world task that he'd been handed to solve, just like the situations many of you likely face in your current roles. The result is what you see shortly. Rescue Now, a ServiceNow-powered solution using agentic AI to bridge the digital divide and support emergency operators working under pressure. But before Jacob takes you through it, I'd like to welcome and introduce Rahul from ServiceNow. Welcome, Rahul, and over to you.
Excellent. Morning, and thanks a lot, Simon. I'm really excited for this webinar as well. I know it's a perfect Friday morning. It's nice and sunny here in Sydney as well, so excited to be with all of you. My name is Rahul Karane, so I'm part of ServiceNow. I've been with ServiceNow for close to 5.5 years. And my predominant role is I look after the New South Wales government from a solution consulting perspective and work with customers like police, transport, and DCS. And it's fantastic, and the emergency services as well, because I'm really passionate about it. And the work which we do here is really driving value to the citizens of New South Wales as well. So really excited. Next slide, please. While I was thinking when we present and everyone knows AI, I thought I'll just do a quick fun fact check. And obviously, I went to Perplexity because we're talking about AI, and I asked them saying, "Hey, can you just find out how many AI agents are there?" And the staggering thing which came out, and by the way, I did check it with multiple sources, so that's a tip. Like, make sure you check your answers. There are around 8.4 billion AI agents which has been created today in the world, and that is more than the 8 billion population. And this was like 2024 stats, so obviously the numbers have gone up. The point I'm trying to make it is AI is real. Like, in matters of years, that the amount of agents which are out there, it's been exploded, and it's more than the number of humans. It's taken us what amazing years to come to this 8 billion people as humans. It's taken less than probably 5 or 6 years to get the agents, and the population of agents is going to keep growing. What that means is we have this amazing disposal of AI agents army at our hands for us to help drive productivity and drive meaning to our life as well. And by the way, no prize for guessing. This image was created using Perplexity as well. So this brings on to our next slide, where we did this amazing HackNow event in 2025. It was back in May, just before our World Forum. And I'm telling you, I've never been part of such an amazing event. As I said, we're all passionate about the government, all the value we're adding. And this was a fantastic event where actually Minister Dibbs came in, and he was really passionate, and he really encouraged everyone, all the participants, in saying, how do we drive? How do we use AI? So even the governments are looking the value which AI can drive. And then this was added a bit more meaningful, saying how we can use the digital inclusion strategy. And that's where it was New South Wales Telco Authority came in. They're driving this new the digital inclusion strategy. And there were teams from across Australia and New Zealand which came together. They designed, they demoed their innovative AI agents, tracking the real world challenges, creativity, and impact. But the biggest thing for me was the solutions range from AI for emergency, accessible government. Jacob and the team did an amazing job, and they're going to walk through it. But it was, for me, this was all aligned to the digital inclusion strategy. And one last thing was, this event just didn't showcase the technical talent which we had in the room, but there was a common shared commitment to make the digital services more inclusive and accessible for everyone. And the prime example is what Jacob and the team did, and the Novabridge team did, and that's why they won the first prize. So good job there, Jacob, and really excited. But that's really what helps us drive this. And that brings on to the next topic, where I just wanted to set the scene in terms of AI. We hear this a lot, and then how we have evolved over a period of time, not only from a ServiceNow perspective, but also in terms of an AI. So you see, phase one was the time which was 20 years ago when ServiceNow was formed. It was all about how I can take this mundane manual task, paper-based things, which is essentially a workflow, and how I can start digitizing them. And that's where the rise of ServiceNow came in, where we went in and we started creating more scripted workflows. We created those business rules, so things were quite automated. And that was like a eureka moment where this is fantastic, how we can drive automation. Then came the phase two, where we started using things like machine learning models. And the reason why we started doing that, and often people confuse between Gen AI, machine learning, it's quite different. The concept is very different. And the amount of data started growing in. And that's where things like the predictive workflow, which came in powered by your machine learning models, which were able to learn the data, anticipate the need, and started improving the efficiency. Then came the rise of the phase three, what we call as a Gen AI, which I remember Jensen Huang from NVIDIA coming up into the ServiceNow kickoff probably a couple of years ago, and high five with Bill McDermott. But the power of the chips going in there and the amount of data which we can start processing now really introduced the conversational AI, where we are enabling more natural, more human-like interaction for employees and customers, and making work simpler and more intuitive. And I've no prize for guessing. Today we are in the phase four, which I call it like the agentic. Sounds like a Bond movie, Agent, but it's like that's where all the agentic workflows are happening. So it's no longer just about summarization. There are so many live examples. I actually book my tickets using an agent today, and not the agent behind the phone, but the AI agents. And more than happy to talk about the AI agents I've built to book my flight tickets. But the point I'm trying to make here is agentic workflows and AI agents are there, and they're not just no longer executing simple tasks. They can reason, they can plan, they can make decisions, they can adapt in real time to support the organization. But most important thing is with the human in the loop. And that brings to a unique showcase where we feel from how ServiceNow is placed, right? So obviously, I'm going to talk a bit more about AI agents, but then on the right-hand side here, what you see is the workflow. And that has always been the bread and butter of ServiceNow. We really do what we do great in the terms of workflow. But if you see that in terms of data, why data is the most crucial aspect of it, right? So many companies you see, they offer a point solution, but this is something really unique, which I feel from a ServiceNow perspective is that a complete integrated platform, which is powered by, and this is really unique to ServiceNow, is by a unified data model. And what does that mean? You'll be like, what is unified data model? This means that every new capability we activate or we do not live in isolation, but integrates naturally. And the difference is very clear. Like when other vendor provide separate tools, we kind of bring that single architecture, connect people, processes, and data. And this requires a consistency, scalability, and efficiency. And that's where the platform's designed. And then there are great capabilities underneath. Like we just released something called Workflow Data Fabric, where we can connect through your underlying data sources. So the point I'm trying to make here is there are some great systems like SAP, Workday. We're not here to replace them, but we are bringing those data, how we can bring them seamless transformation of data between those underlying applications, connect it with our workflow, and then build AI agents on top of it, which really drives the value. Which actually takes me to the next slide, and I'd love to talk around. There you go. The rocket ship went on. Next click, please. This actually brings us to an amazing thing where recently, as a part of the ServiceNow Zurich release, what we did was we released an AIX, which is what we call as an AIX experience. And this is where our Amit Zaveri, who is our chief product officer and the innovation person as well, who came in, and he was like, he mentioned we are at this critical crossroads in technology, right? And there's a massive shift happening from everyone goes and use their command line interfaces, their GUIs, from a desktop to a mobile to a mouse touch, now to where we have gone like gestures and voice and fundamentally rewritten the rules of how do we engage with people. My 18-month-old probably doesn't hold a pen, but he knows how to handle a mobile phone, opens my phone, clicks in a code. I have no idea, but that's where we are going. We want our interfaces to be very intuitive. And AI is definitely transforming not just what we do today, but how do we do everything? Who loves to be on the chat where I'm trying to rebook my flight when I'm stuck somewhere? Right? No one hates that. People would love to pick up a phone call, but it's really hard to find those things. So how we can make those AI web agents, AI voice agents more exciting? AI Data Explorer, that is something awesome where, we have these spreadsheets and you have these beautiful charts, but what is that? I have to interpret. I can ask these questions saying, hey, this is all the data you have. Can you just show me where I'm lagging, how I can improve? And it goes and brings that Data Explorer and gives you an insight. AI Lens, which is fantastic. And this is great from emergency services where we have to do a lot of handwritten forms. How AI Lens can quickly capture that, convert that, and then create not just a form for you, but drive the workflow as well. And that is why ServiceNow is kind of introducing this new interface, which is very intuitive, multimodal, and action oriented. Which actually brings to the next slide, and this is one of my favorite, and I can go on and on, but I know I have 10 minutes to speak onto this. But this is where we're really getting in hands-on from an AI perspective. Like as you can see, there are a lot of capabilities. We talk around Now Assist, AI Control Tower. That is something I'm going to talk about. But this slide is key. The message, what I want to drive to the community here is we don't force a single model. it's not that, hey, you just have to use ServiceNow LLMs. Yes, we are very confident of using ServiceNow LLMs on the ServiceNow data because we understand it. We have been in the industry for 20 years. We know the workflow, but we also allow you to build a hybrid, a flexible strategy, which provides you a full provider choice. So we have, like, as I said, our own Now LLMs, which are optimized for our platform, but we are also open to integrating with market models like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. We use that internally as ourselves as well, where we have to bring in more information from an external third party. We use this, but then seamlessly bring that. So in other words, you can use ours, you can use yours, or any model. And the key to that is not just about pricing or anything, but the what it creates is, all right, I have these multiple agents and multiple models. How do I make sure how I manage those? So I clearly need an orchestrator to make sure that we're controlling those models as well, right? So thanks to AI Agent Orchestrator, we are not just talking about the single data model which we have, but also the teams of AI agents which are working together. Each agent combines this data, the reasoning, the specific tools. Collectively, they act together as a team, and then helps you to solve the complex problem. So the value here is really clear that AI is governed, it's safe, it's transparent, and that's where the AI control tower capability comes in, is while we making sure it's governed, it's safe, it's transparent, but also being open and flexible to adapting to your needs and evolving your digital strategy. And I just want to conclude by, because I can't wait to see the demo Jacob has built, just wanted to conclude by saying ServiceNow is not just a ticketing tool. It's actually a one platform. We have been a platform company since inception. Um, ITSM is just one of the use case on it. And the beauty of this platform, which brings in your AI, your data, your workflows together, is not just solving one department's problem. We are looking at those conversational and convenient self-service capability for your end users. It can be the citizens of New South Wales, and there are so many use cases which I can talk about. It is also around, I call it the unsung heroes, which is the middle office and the back office people, where we are talking about they relentlessly, they get the worst experience, but then they are the one who are inundated with most of the requests. So we look after them. And in the end, the true value of workflow is not just going through one department, but going across the departments, is from your sales to your customer service to an IT. And this is not a very commercial slide. This is very much depends from a government perspective as well. There are so many departments internally, and there's a lot of swivel chair happening. How we can bring everyone together, not just from the front office, the middle of the back office. And this is the real power of ServiceNow platform, which I would love to conclude by saying it's again one architecture, one data model, and it really transforms the way you really get the work done. So now what we're going to see is I'm going to hand it over to Jacob, because he's going to make my slides into an actual reality of how they actually build it. So it's not just the slideware, it's actually how we do it. So over to you, Jacob.
Cool, thank you, Rahul. So, hello everyone, Jacob Parsons here. I've been in the ServiceNow ecosystem for 6 years now. I started on the customer side in a New Zealand government organization and then moved to the services side a few years ago. I was the team lead for Novabridge's winning hackathon submission this year at ServiceNow's ANZ World Forum, and I'm going to talk through our principles guiding our submission, and then we'll see a demo of what we built. So hackathons tempt teams to chase features. We flipped that. Our goal wasn't more buttons, it was measurable impact in the shortest time. This mindset mirrors what organizations need today. Speed to value, not speed to code. When you anchor on impact, decisions get clearer and adoption accelerates. That's the mantra we carried through every choice. So how do you start? It begins with the outcome. We wrote one sentence before touching the tech. Bridge the digital divide during disasters for operators under pressure. That clarity shaped every design decision. For enterprises, this means not starting with algorithms. Instead, start with the business change you're aiming to cause. AI is a means, not the mission. When leaders see that line of sight, funding and trust will follow. So once you know the outcome, slice it smart. So instead of building isolated features, we delivered a thin slice of the full journey. Signal, triage, action, feedback. Why? Because executives and users need to see the whole story, even if it's small, before they invest. For organizations, this approach beats endless proof of concepts. Instead, ship production-shaped slices with real data and measurable KPIs. And that's how you de-risk scale. So where does AI fit in? Fits in with leverage and not hype. Here, we used ServiceNow's agentic AI to handle the heavy lifting. It retrieved, summarizes, and orchestrated, while people kept authority over critical decisions. This pattern matters because we use AI as a co-pilot and not as autopilot. For enterprises, that means leveraging AI for the busy work, but gating decisions that affect safety, spend, or compliance with your people. It's how you gain speed without losing accountability. And here's the secret: the story matters as much as the system. For our presentation, we didn't tack on slides at the end. Instead, we designed the narrative alongside the build. So why does this matter? Because leaders fund stories of value, not lists of features. When your demo proves the promise, adoption accelerates. For organizations, pair architects with storytellers early, allowing you to ignore the fluff and follow in strategy. Our win came from disciplined execution plus narrative impact. Finally, even in a sprint, enterprise signals count. So we know judges and customers look for more than clever ideas. They want performance, security, user experience, and manageability baked in. So we treated these as first class from day one. So for enterprises, this is critical. If you ignore non-functional requirements early, you'll be blocked down later with cybersecurity reviews and rework. It's best to build trust signals into your MVP because it's how you scale fast. So let's see what that looks like in action. So now we're going to witness Rescue Now AI Copilot in motion. An operator under pressure, a disconnected community, and AI bridging the gap. Notice the flow: signal detection, triage, orchestration, and human approval all in one pane. We did not present a concept, instead we built a production-shaped slice proving impact. And that's the playbook. Start with the outcome, thin slice, add leverage, tell the story, and ship enterprise grade. If you apply these 5 principles, you'll do more than just win hackathons, you'll also transform workflows with AI at speed and scale. Here we've got an emergency situation report, which is a Word document Kath has prepared earlier, which contains a lot of the information we're going to need going forward. So what Kath's going to do is select all of this information and copy it to Now Assist on the ServiceNow platform. Now we're going to see what Now Assist suggests for us. And Now Assist has come back recommending to report an emergency situation, which we're going to start. Now Assist has taken the information we shared with earlier and mapped it to the fields on the record. So what we can see is it's found the situation, the type of emergency, location, communities, infrastructure, vulnerable groups, digital messaging, and our contact details. It's going to ask if it looks good, which we're going to confirm. Now Assist is going to ask us one more time if we're ready to submit and create the record, which it has done now, and we're going to open that here. Now we've got our Rescue Now workspace here, and we can see our emergency situation there. So we're going to open that up, and we can see here the record Now Assist created for us earlier, but now we need an outreach plan. So we're going to go into Now Assist and ask it to generate an outreach plan for us. Now what we can see is Now Assist read the emergency record and also generated an emergency name for us, which we can see here, Hawkesbury Nepean Flood Alert. And it's given us a proposed outreach plan with a name here, the communities, delivery channels, languages, digital messaging, and a summary. And it's going to ask us to confirm to proceed, which we'll happily do. See we here, Now Assist has created an outreach plan, and we can see that here on the outreach plan tab. So we're going to open up that outreach plan. And we can see here the record now is created for us. And we've got a summary there as well. But now we need some tasks and messages to go with our outreach plan. So we're going to go back to Now Assist and ask it to generate us messages and tasks. So we can see here, Now Assist gathered the outreach plan for context and the emergency above it, and also the assignment groups we have available in the system. And we've got a loaded plan here with our 3 different languages for 3 different channels, which has given us 9 different messages. And we've got 3 different tasks here to accompany those messages: SMS alerts, distribute the flyers, and call the radio station. We're happy with that, so we're going to ask it to create those messages and tasks for us. And we can see here, Now Assist has created all those messages and those emergency tasks. And if we go into those tabs, here's our 3 tasks with assignment groups, short descriptions, and long descriptions. And we've got 9 different messages here in different languages and different channels of delivery. We've got an English version of the message and the native version of that message as well. So we have our tasks and messages now, but we need to think about execution. So we're going to go back to Now Assist and ask it to execute the outreach plan for us. And we can see here, it read our emergency tasks, it read all of our messages, and it also gathered the assignees for those assignment groups. And it's asked us to confirm the message executions and also assigning those tasks to individuals. So we've got Alyssa, Ashley, and Alejandra. And it's going to ask us to confirm, which we'll happily do. And we can see here Now Assist assigned those emergency tasks and updated the outreach plan. So if we refresh those emergency tasks, they're now in progress and they're assigned to those individuals, which they will now see notifications for. And we can see our outreach plan has been updated to in progress. And if our messages were integrated with external systems like SMS and radio, those messages would have gone out. Thank you. Cool. So as you see in the demo, we won the hackathon using a repeatable pattern for impact. The same 5 principles we applied, starting with the human outcome, thin slicing value, use AI with accountability, design story and system together, and ship enterprise grade. This is the blueprint for organizational transformation. If you want to take one thing away today, let it be this: disciplined execution plus narrative impact equals transformational velocity. Apply these principles to your next workflow and you'll move from idea to scaled impact faster than ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jacob. As I come off mute, that's a great demo, and I remember sitting in the room when you presented and it was judged, and I was just as impressed today as I was on that day a couple of months ago. So and congratulations to you again. We will follow up with those of us on the call around the questions that you might have, but I might like to bring us full circle. Many of you came to us today as existing ServiceNow customers. What you've seen is proof that that AI journey, it doesn't mean having to start over or investing in yet another platform. It doesn't mean huge advisory consultant investments, right? Rahul talked about the power of the platform we're already using. Jacob talked to us and used the native AI capabilities to build Rescue Now. But we're not just talking about emergency services. We know that you represent all sorts of organizations here this morning. And we've been working also with a global airline here in our region on something perhaps considered much more routine, a simple finance question that suppliers often ask them: when will my invoice be paid? And on its own, it might sound trivial, but at scale, across thousands of queries, it's a massive source of manual effort and frustration. And we all love a simple problem statement like this, right, in our tech lives. And that's exactly the sort of statement that we'd want to work with you on after today. But by using agentic AI, the airline's goal is to automate a response instantly, and no more chasing up accounts payable teams, no more wasted cycles and emails and phone calls. And that's the point, whether it's emergency or citizen services in public sector to everyday finance operations. The fastest path to AI isn't somewhere else. It's right here at our fingertips. So my closing and a call to action. What does it mean for you? Again, remember, ServiceNow is already a platform at your fingertips, an AI-powered platform, no bolt-ons or extra complexity needed. Second, you can start small. You can prove value quickly and then scale it out safely. And I hope you've seen that from the team this morning. And third, if Jacob could step into a new role and deliver a working solution in under a week, then why can't you? Why can't your teams? And to help you get started, though, we're happy to offer a complimentary morning or afternoon workshop specifically on this topic. And in that session, we can help you identify ideal use cases and map out practical next steps. Because whether you're solving those frontline challenges or everyday finance queries, the fastest path, again, is right here on the platform you already own. So thank you. We trust today's session was valuable for you and appreciate your time. More importantly, we hope it showed how we can make AI real, moving beyond the hype and into genuine action. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your Friday. Bye for now.